Hello, welcome to Culture TV. We'll continue looking at cases in this video, and by the end of the lesson, you will have met all the cases in the Russian language. Stay tuned. So this is lesson 44 of our online program, Let's Speak Russian. So then, part 4 of cases, we're nearly there. So let's have a look at our table with all the cases. By now, we can use 4 of them, so we can decline pronouns in the nominative, accusative, dative, and genitive case. And after having watched the previous lesson, we can now also use possessive pronouns. Now, though, we have to fill in the last 2 columns of the table, which is what we're going to do today. So then, the last 2 cases are called, drumroll, the instrumental, and prepositional cases. The names do sound quite advanced and complicated, but actually it's not that bad. So what is this instrumental case? Well, as the name suggests, we use this case to talk about performing actions using a certain object, a tool, a piece of equipment, or, what a surprise, an instrument. Yes? So we're using an instrument, a tool, to carry out a certain process and action, to do something, basically. Very often we also use the instrumental case to form the passive voice, and that is when we have the object of the sentence at the start and the subject at the end in English, and we use the preposition by. So something is being done by someone. To convey this sense in Russian, we use the instrumental case. And lastly, we use it with certain prepositions, and this applies to all cases. Every preposition, as you know already, has its own, well, as I call it, control. So a case that always follows that preposition. And in fact, we're going to look at this in more detail next time. So yes, keep your eye out for that as well. And for example, we use the preposition s, which means with, always and only with the instrumental case. So whenever you're talking about, I don't know, garnishes for a dish, for example, you will say s and then always follow with the instrumental case. Let's have a look at how we decline the pronouns then. So repeat after me. Mной, тобой, им or ей, нами, вами, ими. Once more. Мной, тобой, им, ей, нами, вами, ими. Okay? So this is the declension. Once again, you just have to memorize this. Please though make sure that you're repeating all of this out loud and that you're actively practicing declining pronouns and using cases. That's very important. Now let's take a look at some example sentences. Можно я пойду с вами? Можно я пойду с вами? What do you think this means? Well, first of all, можно translates as one may or it is allowed to, or in this case, it's just I can. Remember, we saw this in lesson 29 on modal verbs. Please do have a look at that once again if you are unsure. They are very important verbs. Then we have я пойду. Пойду is the conjugated form of пойти. This is a motion verb and it's the perfective aspect of to go. С вами. Can I come or can I go with you? You're asking basically. Пойду, so remember we use the perfective aspect of the verb to talk about the simple future tense, to form the simple future tense. So идти is the imperfective of to go, and that is by foot. And then пойти is the also to go by foot, but in the perfective. We then conjugate the perfective in the present tense, or as if it is in the present tense, to convey the future. If you're lost in what I'm talking about now, it is crucial that you rewatch A, lesson 26, which is on the future tense, and B, lessons 27 and 28, which are on motion verbs. Then we have the preposition с, which means with, as we've just seen, and then вами, the declension of you, formal or plural. Well, it is plural in this case because it's a capital letter. Можно я пойду с вами? Can I come with you? Then the next sentence. Между нами километры. Между нами километры. There are kilometers between us. Now, между is another preposition, and this means between. In the majority of cases, we follow with the instrumental case here. That's why we have нами, so between us, and then километры, as I'm sure you've guessed, is kilometers. Now notice here we're not using any construction like there is or there are, and that can happen in Russian. You don't really need to use a verb because, as you know, the verb to be doesn't really exist, or the conjugated form of the verb to be isn't there in the Russian language, so this sentence makes perfect sense. And lastly we have this. Она думала, что поедет с тобой. Она думала, что поедет с тобой. Она думала, she thought. Remember, this is the imperfect tense, so she thought, or maybe even she used to think. Obviously, in this case, the past simple tense in English is a better translation. Что поедет с тобой. Что, as you know from lesson 37, is a conjunction. It means that. And then поедет, again, this is very similar to the first sentence. This time we're not going by foot, but we're going by vehicle. Well, not we, but she. So she thought that she will go by vehicle with you. С тобой. Again, с follows with the instrumental case. So again, we've got the future tense here, the simple future tense. She thought that she'll go with you. Okay, great. If you have any questions on the instrumental case, do put them below. I will definitely answer you. Now then, let's have a look at the prepositional case. First of all, let's have a look at the declension. And as you're about to see, it's a bit of a mix between the dative and then either the accusative or genitive case, whichever way you want to go about it, because as you know, the accusative and genitive case pronouns are the same. So we have мне, тебе, and then нем, ней, нас, вас, них. Мне, тебе, нем, ней, нас, вас, них. The only difference here really is that we have нем and ней. They are the only ones that really are different, something new. Now, we usually have the letter n at the start of the third person pronouns whenever we have a preposition that is, as a rule, composed of one letter. For example, у. When we learn the construction у меня, у тебя, which means I have, you have, and so on, we saw that we say у него or у нее for the third person, or у них, or they have. That is primarily because we have the preposition у. Now, in the prepositional case, in the majority of cases, excuse the pun there, we do have to use prepositions that are composed of one letter, and they are, as a rule, vowels. And that's why very often we have the letter n. Anyway, this is just the declension of the pronouns there. Once again, just learn these. Now, likewise with the instrumental case, the name kind of gives it away. We always use it with a preposition, always, always. Now, yes, okay, with other cases, they are also used after certain prepositions. However, think about it. Let's say the accusative case, it is not always followed with a preposition. In fact, it rarely is. We usually use the accusative case for the direct object of a sentence. I see you. Я вижу тебя. No prepositions involved here. However, the exception is this prepositional case, which always, always, always has to be followed, or, well, is followed after a preposition. We have examples like в, which means in, or which means about. Two example sentences, я думаю о тебе. Я думаю о тебе, which means I'm thinking about you. Notice here one thing with pronunciation. Even though or is one word and one syllable, we do still keep it unstressed, because apart from actually word stress, there is also a thing called sentence stress where we stress a certain word. And whenever we have small little words like or, we don't have to stress them. Я думаю о тебе. Here I'm stressing думаю, which means I'm trying to emphasize the action that I'm thinking. And because I'm stressing this word and not or, I don't need to say or, I can just reduce it to an a. However, if I want to make the or obvious, that I'm actually thinking about you, and as you can guess, there aren't really many contexts where you would actually want to stress a preposition. Maybe unless a language tutor is correcting you and you've used the wrong preposition, they would say something like Я думаю о тебе. Because we're stressing the or, we pronounce the or sound and we don't reduce it. If, however, we're just, stressing тебе, я думаю о тебе, we're stressing one word there. Again, we don't have to make the or sound that distinct. Anyway, I am digressing slightly there. Just a bit of a tip for you. And lastly, we have они говорили о нас. Они говорили о нас. They were talking about us. Okay, if you have any other questions regarding any of these two cases, as I said, put them down below. I will answer. You can also send us an email. That's perfectly fine. And your homework really is just to practice, try and form some sentences, and make sure you just learn these declensions of the pronouns. Other than that, thank you very much for your attention. See you next time. Goodbye.